My name is Dion, as you know, and today I want to talk to you about learning. I want to talk to you about how we do it, the process that we go through when trying to learn or develop any new skill. I want to talk about some of the difficulties that you might face and some of the fears that you might have to overcome when trying to accomplish this goal. And I want to share with you some of my experiences and some of the strategies that I've used in my own life to overcome any difficulties, fears, in learning new things. And hopefully by the end of this, maybe one or some of you might even be inspired to go out and give something new a shot. A little bit about myself. I've been a professional educator for about 3 years now as the owner and the head instructor of the Kung Fu Academy of West Side, which is over in West Springfield, Massachusetts. And before that, I did spend a good number of my formative years working very closely alongside my own instructor, teaching, helping, and assisting him at his school. And so I've worked with students from ages 5 to 55, sometimes a little bit older, sometimes a little bit younger. What I found is no matter what, the process remains the same. And that process can be broken down into 3, what I hope to be easily understood phases. Now I have this bow staff not just because it makes me look really cool, but because I'm going to try to illustrate to the best of my ability what these are. My personal experience being in martial arts, the first phase is the awkward phase. And that's when you're receiving brand new information. So in my case, this is the first time you're ever introduced to a weapon in martial arts. It's brand new information. The brain and the body are out of sync. They don't agree with each other. Everything is a struggle. You have to have significant concentration just to achieve some kind of desired effect. So in my case, this would be my feet are unsteady, I'm not sure where to put them, my legs move too much, my hips are too wobbly, my elbows are too high, my shoulders are too tight, and I'm second guessing every single move. And it's a struggle. And it looks awkward, and it feels awkward, and inevitably, I'm going to hit myself in the back of the head, and I might get discouraged, and I might say to myself, maybe this martial arts thing just isn't my cup of tea. Unless I keep going, and I give it another shot. And then a funny thing happens, and then I stop hitting myself in the back of the head. And I'm able to gain a little bit more comfort in the knowledge, and I can start going through the process simpler, a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm in the mechanical phase now. 1, 2, 3. I have a better understanding of the function of my movements. My brain translates the information faster to my body. And if I'm feeling sassy, I might pick up the pace. Oh, picking it up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Inevitably, I'm going to hit myself in the shin. I might get discouraged and I might say this martial arts thing just isn't for me. They wear those weird sashes and it's like a step below ballet in level of functionality anymore. So. Unless I give it another shot and I keep going. And then a funny thing happens when I'm here. I stop hitting myself in the shin. I don't do that anymore. I don't hit myself in the back of the head anymore. And I can start to pick up the pace, and I start to get more comfortable and more comfortable the longer I do it, and inevitably I get to that final phase, which is the natural phase, which is where we all want to be in a desired skill. You want to be able to have that series of thoughtless actions. You don't have to focus on the process. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen. You can just go through the entire thing without having to worry about it. And it happens naturally, and it happens without thought. Now, we don't get to that phase without a significant amount of work. You have to go through countless bumps, stumbles, bruises, missteps, screw-ups, anything. Hundreds of them. And there's an author, Stephen McCraney, and he said that the master has failed more times than the beginner has tried. Failure. Now it's that fear of failure that keeps a lot of people from even attempting to learn any kind of new skill or trying anything new out. It's that fear of that small voice in the back of your head that says, I don't think I can do this. I think I'm going to screw it up. I might fail at this. But I'm here to tell you that that voice, 7 days a week and twice on Sundays, is dead wrong. You know, the first year that I took over ownership at my school was the hardest year of my life because I felt like every single step I took was a failure. I was screwing everything up. I was letting everybody down. But the thing was, I was learning a brand new skill. I was learning how to be the sole person in charge of 20 students, a 3-year lease, utility payments on top of that, bringing in inventory, setting up tests, setting up seminars, making sure I was to class on time. New skills that I'd always had a safety net before. I've been an assistant instructor, a second in command. I always had somebody behind me that if everything kind of went to the fan, they'd be there to back me up. This was my first experience being the only person in charge. And I felt like a failure at every step of it. You know, I was working 2 jobs on top of owning the school just to keep the doors open because I was failing at bringing in new students or maintaining old ones. I had to give my dog up for adoption because I was failing to maintain a proper schedule that I could properly care for her. I was letting down my friends and my family on a regular basis because I couldn't handle the stress that was going on in my life. And it was tough. And fortunately, I had a strong motivator in the fact that I had signed a 3-year lease and 20 students that I was responsible for to silence that voice and silence that doubt every single day. Because I had to. But what I found is that it's always wrong. And that every time that voice said, you can't do it, you're not going to make it, I said, yes I can, getting through it, going through the process. And soon enough, and sure enough, I made less and less mistakes. I stopped forgetting material in my class. I stopped forgetting to pay bills. I started to gain a bigger student base. I was able to create more classroom time. Now, that voice in my head, and that's in everybody else's head, that tells you you're going to fail. That's true. But there's a second part after that that you don't always hear, is that you have to fail. You're going to fail, and it is necessary to fail. It's necessary to screw up the process 100 times before you can do it right. And something that I think of now that's really helped me to develop a stronger appreciation for this is to look at failure not as a negative, to not look at failure as something that's bad, as something that I ruined, but looking at failure as a privilege. Failure is a privilege because that means I'm learning something today. I have an opportunity right now to learn something, because after failure, if you are ready for it, if you're open for it, is progress, is success. So I'm going to challenge everybody today to go out and try something new. Take a skill that you've been putting on the back burner for a couple months, right? Pick up a new language, flub through German for a little while. Hop in a pool, try to do the butterfly stroke. Pick up the guitar that's been gathering dust in the corner of your living room for the past 1.5 years. Try to play a G chord. I got a pretty killer kickboxing class at some place in West Springfield. I don't know. Pick up a new skill. Try it and fail as often and as hard as possible at it until you stop screwing up. Go out and fail as loud as you can until it gets a little quiet. Don't let the difficulties dictate your decision. You know, I tell my students all the time in class, when we have a particularly tough class or a particularly tough drill, don't allow the difficulty to become your excuse to quit. Make it your reason to try again. Thank you very much.